Hey, it's Marvolo and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk to you all about medical marijuana in the United States. I thought it would be helpful to give you all some information on qualifying conditions, how much you're allowed to possess with a medical card in each state, and which states allow you to grow. I'm going to go in alphabetical order and try to quickly summarize the laws in each state that surround medical marijuana. I'm not going to be including states that only have access to CBD or states that have passed laws but have not yet put them into effect. All the states that I will list are states where you could currently go get a medical marijuana card and be a medical marijuana patient. I will mention right now, though, that Guam, Pennsylvania, and Ohio have passed medical marijuana laws, but they have not yet put the systems into full effect. Hopefully that will happen soon. Okay, so let's get into the states where you can get a card right now. Alaska medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to an ounce of marijuana and grow up to 6 plants with only 3 mature at a time. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in Alaska are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, and conditions causing one or more of the following. I'm sorry if I pronounce words wrong here, but I didn't think to look up pronunciation. Whoops. Cachexia? I don't know. Cachexia. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Okay, moving on. Severe pain, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms, including those that are characteristic of multiple sclerosis. Arizona medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana. They may also grow up to 12 plants, but only if they live more than 25 miles away from a dispensary. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in Arizona are cancer, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Crohn's disease, glaucoma, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, PTSD, and conditions causing one or more of the following symptoms: severe and chronic pain, cachexia, that word I can't pronounce, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms. California medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 8 ounces of marijuana, and they are allowed to grow up to 12 plants with only 6 being mature at a time, though this may vary by county in California. Patients in California, unlike pretty much every other state, are not required to have a medical marijuana card, but may instead get a prescription from a doctor for marijuana. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in California include cancer, anorexia, AIDS, chronic pain, spasticity, glaucoma, arthritis, migraine, or any other illness for which marijuana provides relief. Colorado medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow up to 6 plants with only 3 being mature at a time. Qualifying conditions in Colorado are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe pain, cachexia, whatever, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms. Connecticut medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana per month, unless otherwise specified by a doctor. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in Connecticut are cancer, glaucoma, HIV/AIDS, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord damage causing intractable spasticity, epilepsy, cachexia, wasting syndrome, Crohn's disease, PTSD, sickle cell disease, post-laminectomy syndrome or failed back syndrome, severe psoriasis, and psoriatic arthritis. Delaware medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 6 ounces of marijuana, and they are allowed to purchase 3 ounces every 14 days. Qualifying conditions in Delaware are cancer, HIV/AIDS, decompensated cirrhosis, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, post-traumatic stress disorder, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe, debilitating pain that has not responded to other treatments for more than 3 months, or for which other treatments produce serious side effects, intractable nausea, seizures, and severe and persistent muscle spasms. Hawaii medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 3 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow up to 7 plants with only 3 mature at a time. Qualifying conditions in Hawaii are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, PTSD, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe pain, wasting, severe nausea, seizures, or severe and persistent muscle spasms. Illinois medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana. Qualifying conditions in Illinois are HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Crohn's disease, agitation due to Alzheimer's disease, wasting syndrome, muscular dystrophy, severe fibromyalgia, spinal cord disease, Tarlov's cysts, hydromyelia, syringomyelia, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury and post-concussion syndrome, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, Arnold-Chiari malformation, SCA, Parkinson's disease, Tourette syndrome, myoclonus, dystonia, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, causalgia, CRPS, neurofibromatosis, chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. I wasn't even going to try to not look at that while I read it. Sjogren's syndrome, I probably pronounced that wrong too. Lupus, interstitial cystitis, myasthenia gravis, nail patella syndrome, residual limb pain, seizures, or the treatment of any of these conditions. That was a really long list. Maine medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana. Dispensaries are not allowed to dispense more than 2.5 ounces to a patient every 15 days. And in Maine, patients may grow up to 6 mature plants at a time. Qualifying conditions in Maine are cancer, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, nail patella, glaucoma, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, post-traumatic stress disorder, inflammatory bowel disease, dyskinetic and spastic movement, and conditions causing one or more of the following: intractable pain, wasting, severe nausea, seizures, or severe and persistent muscle spasms. Maryland medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 1 ounce, though that may be increasing soon. They have not yet decided what would be appropriate as a 30 to 40 day supply. Qualifying conditions in Maryland are cachexia, anorexia, or wasting syndrome, severe or chronic pain, severe nausea, seizures, or severe and persistent muscle spasms. Applications may also be approved for, quote, from the legal document, any other condition that is severe and for which other medical treatments have been ineffective if the symptoms reasonably can be expected to be relieved by the medical use of marijuana. End quote. Massachusetts medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 10 ounces, which is considered to be a 60-day supply. If a physician deems it necessary, the amount can be increased. Patients with limited access to dispensaries can obtain a permit allowing them to grow up to a 60-day supply of marijuana. Qualifying conditions in Massachusetts are cancer, glaucoma, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Crohn's disease, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, and other debilitating conditions that are determined by a physician in writing. Michigan medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess 2.5 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow up to 12 plants, so long as they are in an enclosed and locked area, which is the case for most states, but not all. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in Michigan are cancer, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Crohn's disease, nail patella, glaucoma, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, PTSD, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe and chronic pain, wasting, severe nausea, seizures, or severe and persistent muscle spasms. Minnesota medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess marijuana in liquid, oil, or pill form. Vaporizing is allowed, but smoking is not. Each patient is allowed a 30-day supply, and that is determined by the pharmacist and physician. Qualifying conditions for medical marijuana in Minnesota are cancer if the patient has severe nausea, wasting, or pain, HIV/AIDS, Tourette's, ALS, seizures, severe and persistent spasms, Crohn's disease, and terminal illnesses if the patient has pain, nausea, or wasting. Montana medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana, and they may grow up to 4 mature plants and 12 seedlings. Qualifying conditions in Montana are wasting syndrome, intractable nausea or vomiting, epilepsy or intractable seizure disorder, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, painful peripheral neuropathy, admittance to hospice, a nervous system disease causing painful spasticity or spasms, conditions whose symptoms severely affect the patient's health, cancer, glaucoma, HIV/AIDS. Nevada medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana, and they are allowed to purchase this much every 14 days. Also, they may grow up to 12 plants. Qualifying conditions in Nevada are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, PTSD, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe pain, cachexia, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms. Also, Nevada will recognize other medical marijuana cards from other states so long as the qualifying conditions are also covered under the Nevada medical marijuana program. New Hampshire medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana and may renew that every 10 days. Qualifying conditions in New Hampshire are cancer, glaucoma, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, ALS, muscular dystrophy, Crohn's disease, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, chronic pancreatitis, spinal cord injury or disease, traumatic brain injury, and injuries that significantly interfere with daily activities. Also covered are cachexia, however that's pronounced, chemotherapy-induced anorexia, wasting syndrome, severe pain if it has not responded to other treatments, severe nausea, vomiting, seizures, or severe persistent muscle spasms. New Jersey medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2 ounces every 30 days. They must have a prescription every time marijuana is dispensed. Qualifying conditions in New Jersey are amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, inflammatory bowel disease, terminal illness, conditions resistant to conventional therapies, seizure disorders, intractable skeletal muscular spasticity, HIV/AIDS, cancer, or conditions accompanied by severe pain, severe nausea, vomiting, or cachexia. New Mexico medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 6 ounces of marijuana. Patients can request access to a larger supply if they don't think that is enough. Patients in New Mexico may also apply for a separate license in order to grow marijuana. This license will allow them to grow up to 4 mature plants and 12 seedlings. Qualifying conditions: severe chronic pain, painful peripheral neuropathy, inflammatory autoimmune-mediated arthritis, intractable nausea or vomiting, severe anorexia, hepatitis C, Crohn's disease, and ALS. There might be a few more in New Mexico, but my notes got kind of scrambled at this point, so yeah, if you live in New Mexico, you might want to check that out for yourself to see if there are any more, because I feel like my list got cut short there. New York medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to a 30-day supply, which is going to be determined individually. Qualifying conditions in New York are cancer, HIV/AIDS, ALS, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord damage causing spasticity, epilepsy, inflammatory bowel disease, neuropathies, or Huntington's disease. Oregon medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 24 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow up to 6 mature plants and 18 immature plants. Qualifying conditions in Oregon are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, and conditions causing one or more of the following: cachexia, severe pain, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms. Rhode Island medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow 12 plants and 12 seedlings. Qualifying conditions in Rhode Island are cancer, HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, glaucoma, agitation related to Alzheimer's disease, and conditions causing one or more of the following: severe debilitating pain, wasting syndrome, severe nausea, seizures, or persistent muscle spasms. Vermont medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana, and they may grow up to 2 mature and 7 immature plants at a time. Qualifying conditions in Vermont are cancer, multiple sclerosis, HIV/AIDS, or a chronic debilitating condition causing one or more of the following: severe pain, cachexia, severe nausea, or seizures. Okay, Washington medical marijuana is a little bit weird. I think they recently made a couple changes that involve a state registry, but I've got the information. Don't worry, I'll try to make it as brief as possible. Okay. The limits on how much marijuana a Washington medical marijuana patient can have depends on whether or not they are registered with this optional state registry. I think it's a new thing. Without registration, a patient can possess up to 3 ounces or 6 if they grew it themselves. They may also grow up to 4 plants. A patient that is registered through the state registration, though, they can possess up to 8 ounces of marijuana, and they can grow up to 6 plants. Also, patients can receive additional authorization from a healthcare provider to grow and possess more marijuana. They may be able to receive up to 16 ounces of marijuana and grow up to 15 plants. If more marijuana is needed, in Washington, you're allowed to form a community garden with other patients. You can get up to 10 patients together with 45 plants and have up to 72 ounces of marijuana. Qualifying conditions in Washington are cancer, HIV, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, seizure and spasm disorders, intractable pain, glaucoma, Crohn's disease, hepatitis C, and diseases causing nausea, vomiting, or appetite loss. Some conditions only apply if they haven't been relieved by other more conventional and standard medical treatments. Washington, D.C. or District of Columbia medical marijuana patients are allowed to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana in a 30-day period. Qualifying conditions in Washington, D.C. are cancer, HIV/AIDS, glaucoma, severe and persistent muscle spasms, ALS, decompensated cirrhosis, wasting, Alzheimer's, seizure disorders, and conditions treated with chemotherapy, AZT, protease inhibitors, or radiotherapy. Terminally ill hospice patients will also qualify. I'd like to add that in every state with a medical marijuana program, there is some sort of a committee that goes about adding more conditions, so you can send a letter to state officials and to your departments trying to get them to add a condition if you think that something you have or someone you know has should be covered by medical marijuana and is not in your state. Also, these lists hopefully will change in the future to include more conditions in all states. And hopefully we will get more states added to the list, starting with, of course, Guam, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, since they have passed legislation. It just needs to be put into effect. If you'd like some more information on your state's medical marijuana program, there should be some information on yourstates.gov website. I also find the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML, to be an extremely useful website. I'll include a few links to a few pages that I found useful when I was gathering this information down below so you can check it out, as well as links to where you can find me on all different social media apps. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful or at the very least interesting. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if I got some of this information wrong based on your experience with your state's medical marijuana program, let me know down in the comments what your experience has been like. And make sure to subscribe so you can stay updated for the next time I make a video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you again soon.